Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Changes are coming to the Lloydminster Courthouse located on the Saskatchewan side of the city. As of September 1st, it will be converted to a circuit court location served from North Battleford. In a government memo from the province's Chief Justice, information states while court sittings will continue, there will no longer be a resident judge or provincial court office on the Saskatchewan side of Lloydminster. The memo states the centralizing judicial resources allows for a shared workload and streamlined scheduling. As of deadline, we have not yet received a response from the government as to how many jobs this will affect. We will release more information as it comes available. 2 more people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan have died. One was in the Northwest Zone in the 80s+ age category. The other was in the same age category in the North Central Zone. There are 90 new cases in the province, including 15 in the Northwest. There's 1 new case in the immediate Lloydminster area, where we have 42 active cases. The Northwest continues to have the 3rd highest number of cases in the province, with 120 behind only Saskatoon and Regina. There are 1,053 active cases province-wide. 104 people are in hospital, including 13 in the Northwest. More than 816,000 vaccine doses have been administered in Saskatchewan, with close to 52,000 in our zone. More than 9,000 people in the Northwest are fully vaccinated. Lloydminster City Council granted 3rd and final reading to the mill rate and taxable assessment bylaw on Monday. As Jace Mackey reports, while the mill rate is increasing, that doesn't mean all residents will be paying higher taxes.
The 2021 residential mill rate will be increasing to 9.8312, while the non-residential mill rate is increasing to 16.3608. Mayor Gerald Albers says this increase was necessary in order for the city to deliver services residents have become accustomed to.
The mill rate is the last step after a budget to deliver what the city requires and requests of services, both that are required to be provided, like fire and policing, and roads, right through to the recreation and culture that the city supports on a daily basis.
In 2020, Lloydminster City Council decreased the mill rate in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, as many residents were left out of work. Now in 2021, with Saskatchewan continuing ahead with reopening, the increased mill rate is in line with 2019 numbers.
2020, the city actually reduced the mill rate and reduced our ask from the public so that we could provide some form of tax relief. And then we get to this year and we look at how much was the city's overall budget, and it's actually fairly comparable where we're at right now with what the 2019 numbers were. So really it's just flattening it out back to a point where it was prior to, the many businesses shut down and the many people not working.
While the mill rate is increasing, many residents who've seen their property assessment decrease are expected to pay less in municipal taxes in 2021.
If the assessment goes down and the mill rate goes up, do you pay more taxes? Not necessarily. So it's going to depend on each individual property owner from that perspective. If your assessment went up from last year, there's a potential you'll be paying a little more tax. If your assessment went down, depending on how the numbers equate, you could see very little, you could see a slight decrease.
Mayor Albers understands many residents don't want to see a higher mill rate, but believes the city is providing necessary services to residents at a good value to taxpayers.
At what point do we cut services to people? And I know it's always easy that people ask me, can't you cut a service? And I said, yes, but what service do you receive that you'd like cut? And I don't get a very strong answer back from anybody, because we've enjoyed a very great community, and we still continue to enjoy a great community with great amenities, great services provided at the cost of the taxpayers, which is borne by all of us.
Tax notices will be in the mail on June 18th, with the last date for payment before penalty being July 26th. For Primetime Local News, I'm Jace Mackey.
The Lloydminster Interval Home Society receives hundreds of bags of donations each week from community members, and they want to remind residents of the proper procedures when bringing in donations. With the donations brought into the store, the Interval Home Society uses them to help support their programs as well as funding other projects.
items that aren't immediately used by our clients that need them are sorted and priced for sale in the store for the interval store. And then the revenue that's generated from those items is reinvested back into our programs and services.
30% of the donations brought into the interval store are unusable. Double checking your donations before bringing them in is the best way to ensure they will be used.
Any item that is broken, damaged, stained, worn out, just doesn't work. Are items that we can't accept here at the store. We don't have a fix-it shop in the back. We don't have a repair shop. We don't have extra parts for items. And if items aren't safe or usable, then we simply can't accept them.
The interval store is also asking donors to sort and categorize their donations before they drop them off. They are also asking residents to bring in their donations during donation hours, otherwise the items may be stolen or tampered with.
We had after hours items that had been donated that had been dug through and scattered up and down our alley, and it takes us hours to clean up these items that were dropped off. Their intentions are to support the society. Please, please, please donate during regular hours, 7 days a week, so we can actually accept your items, get them into the store.
If you would like to donate, their donation hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 7 days a week, and they are currently looking for volunteers to help with the donations. June is Pride Month, and the LGBTQ+ Society of Lloydminster are looking to move forward with their celebrations for the month. Connor Chan has more.
Jensen Brown, chairman of the LGBTQ+ Society of Lloydminster, and Christopher Wise, chairman of Slay the Night, join us today. Gentlemen, first off, thank you very much for joining us. Jensen, give us an overview of Pride Month in Lloydminster for those that may not be familiar with it.
Well, we are so super thrilled to be doing Pride this year, again, as per normal in our regular weekly time slot at the end of June. Once again, we're going to have to be primarily virtual, but we are able to have a couple in-person events, which is very, very exciting. We are having some events starting right from June 1st and running all the way to the 25th of June. That involves the coloring contest and also the costume contest that we have running. So those are very exciting. Starting the 13th, there is a scavenger hunt geocache style of 13 locations across Lloydminster that some specific rocks and clues. So you have to solve the clues, get the puzzle answer, and then and as you go through finding all the different geocache sites. So that goes from the 13th all the way to the 5th. So those are kind of our bigger, longer month Pride events. And then Pride Week itself is packed with 7 days of various different events.
Going to your point, Jensen, about how things will be virtual, I know the Pride Walk is a big event for the society. Talk about how exciting it is, though, to actually do a Pride Walk in person this year.
We are really honored this year to have Synergy Credit Union as being our primary sponsor of the Pride Walk this year. It's very, very exciting. We are so happy to have such great representation from companies in this city. We are in being able to do the Pride Walk. We're going to be, of course, taking as many socially distanced measures that need to be. We're going to be following all within the health regulations with a staggered start and having smaller groups being taken out. But we have space for 19 groups of teams to go from our starting location. It's about a 4-kilometer route all the way to Synergy Credit Union, and then back to our starting location again. At Synergy Credit Union earlier that day, we'll have done the flag raising. Synergy again has been awesome in promoting our flag for the entire week. So the official LGBTQ+ Society of Lloydminster Pride flag is going to be on their or outside their building this year. We'll be having a little water station, and then taking our tour guides back. And the exciting thing was that originally we had 10 space for 10 groups. That was, what did that take? 3 days, 4 days and those had been completely booked up. So once restrictions on May 30th allowed us to have a few more people, we opened up another 9 spaces. There's only 6 teams left that at last count that could go. And that's teams of 10 or less within a bubble. So that's very, very exciting for us. I foresee this being another sold out show last year. Or not show, a sold out walk. Last year we had, I believe, 68 people come to Bud Miller to do it. So we could have easily past 100 people cycling through in a socially distanced stagger start format this year, which will be really cool.
Now to you, Christopher, to talk about stuff going on with Slay the Night. There's gonna be lots of fun drag events throughout the week. Talk about what people could expect throughout that week.
So with COVID restrictions, we have partnered with the Drag Collective out of Saskatoon. They are doing 12 stops across Saskatchewan, with Lloydminster being one of the stops. And with that, I believe there are 9 performers from Lloydminster that are joining their crew. That is happening June 26th. We have a 7 o'clock show, which is all ages friendly. And then we have a 9 o'clock show that is 16 plus. With that, we are super excited to actually performing in person again, because with 2020 and the beginning part of 2021, a lot of our stuff have been online shows or just Facebook events. So it's definitely a lot of fun to be actually going out in person to be performing again. And with Last Minute Lloydminster, I do recommend everybody to get their tickets as soon as possible. You can find all of the links on our Facebook page.
Let's talk about community support for both organizations like the LGBTQ plus society and Slay the Night. And just how does it feel knowing that the city backs you up on what you guys want to do, which is putting on great events here in Lloydminster?
It's phenomenal. Chris and I both had the honor of being part of the Pride journey since 2017, when we put on our first Lloydminster Pride. And to go from that, which was our one time that we were able to raise a flag outside City Hall and have a backyard barbecue, and that was the extent of the Pride activities, to where it is now, even virtually, but before virtually being able to do Pride in the Park and everything else that we were able to do in person. It is just absolutely phenomenal, absolutely heartwarming. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, everyone eventually wants a future where no one ever has to come out, and we're all just seen as human, and we're all shades of the rainbow, no matter who you are. But to be able to walk that journey since 2017 and see how much support that we have had in the city, how much the city has grown and come out and to support, there's no words to explain it.
Right, and just like Judson said, I'll be honest, growing up in Lloydminster hasn't been the most LGBTQ plus friendly. However, I would say in the last 5 years, it's amazing to see corporations and the larger names of the city, like the Huskies, the Synergies of Lloydminster, actually reaching out to us and saying, hey, what we can do for Pride for 2021. It does make members of the LGBTQ society feel seen, like Jensen said. So it's just amazing. It just the lead up to it has made my heart very warm and happy. So
Jensen and Christopher, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want to know more about what's going on for Pride Month, you can go over to lloydminsterpride.ca or head over to slaythenightloydminster.ca. Gentlemen, thank you once again.
Now we're Connor Chan. We'll take a first look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Sitting at 17 degrees right now for us here in Lloydminster. We're still seeing lots of cloud coverage, and that could be the case for the next couple of days. It was very warm, more out east in the Atlantic provinces, but for us here in the prairies, it's been a little bit different. Take a look now to some other temperatures. 17 degrees also in Marwayne, Vermilion, and St. Paul. 16 degrees in Vegreville. 18 up in Bonnyville with 16 in Cold Lake. Looking over to Saskatchewan, a little bit warmer in some spots, like 20 degrees up in North Battleford, 18 degrees down in Maidstone there, and 18 also in St. Walburg, and And taking a look now to the satellite radar map, there is a chance of some showers developing into tomorrow, but it's mostly the southern parts of Saskatchewan and Alberta that could see lots of heavy rain over the course of the next 24 hours. We won't see rain within the central areas of our area, like Lloydminster, going eastbound into Saskatoon, probably at least until Thursday evening, where we could start to see quite a bit more showers. We won't see as much as Saskatoon will over that next little bit here, but we are going to still probably see some rain heading into the weekend. Take a look now overnight in North Battleford, 10 degrees, that cloud coverage continuing on, going to see some more showers with that high at 23 degrees tomorrow. It's still fairly warm for the most part. Looking at overnight in Cold Lake, 12 degrees overnight with some showers continuing on into possibly into the morning as well. And then for us here in Lloydminster, we should see some rain as well into that high with 20 degrees. We'll still see that cloud coverage once again continuing on for the next couple of days. So looking at here, the next 3 days, looks like we could have back-to-back days of rain on Wednesday, Thursday. So 16 degrees will be the high on Thursdays. We're still kind of below seasonal averages, where we usually average around 22 as our daytime high for the month of June. Looking into Friday, we will start to see that sun come back out, and then we could taper off again for the weekend and be back to the normal temperatures, maybe even closer to the 25 plus range starting mid next week. That is a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
A process that has taken over a year is now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The fall of 2021 will see the inaugural season of the Lakeland College women's hockey team. Evan Kenny has more on the team's future.
A year ago, a group from Lloydminster proposed adding a team to Lakeland College athletics. Monday, that team became official.
I've been involved with the Steelers program, the elite division of female hockey in Lloydminster for the last 4 or 5 years, and so I could see that there was an opportunity in Lloydminster with being one of the 6 communities in Alberta that has a AAA program, and Lakeland College has got an excellent reputation for their athletics, and I just thought it was a natural fit here in our community, and went from there.
As the team was set up through the community, it's only fitting that the majority of funding will be done through community support. Lakeland College Vice President Michael Crow says this is a unique model to fund a college sports team. However, he is optimistic the community will support. Head coach Morgan Mann seems to agree.
So we have a sponsorship package that we will go out to the community with, and Lloydminster has been tremendous over the years with their support of hockey. It's a hockey community, and it's a community that really supports the people within the community. So,
behind me, the Russ Robertson Arena will play home to Lakeland College. In 2021, the team will be playing in the Alberta Female Junior Hockey League before moving to the ACAC in 2022.
In pursuing this, we learned quickly that the ACAC just wouldn't allow us to jump right into their league, that there'd have to be kind of a league or a year proving yourself. And I mean, you can front load your season with exhibition games, but the reality is once the year starts and everybody else is in season in league play, it's tough to find games.
14 players are already committed to wearing the green and gold next season. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now our Connor Chan will take another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Taking a look at temperatures outside right now, still sitting around that 19-degree mark. It's starting to get a little bit cooler in Alberta as we are starting to see a lot more lower pressure making its way into Alberta, therefore causing some rain, and we will see that at least in southern Saskatchewan for the next couple of hours. Then we could see the next batch of rain coming in into tomorrow and into the next couple of days as well. But looking out west, 16 degrees in Edmonton, 9 in Edson, 12 degrees in Athabasca and Whitecourt, with 14 in Rocky Mountain House. Going into Saskatchewan, it's a little bit warmer as we see some temperatures up in the 20s with 23 in Saskatoon, 22 degrees in Melfort, and 23 also in Prince Albert. Now taking a look to temperatures in the north, we see 17 degrees in LaLoche and Buffalo Narrows. So LaLoche and 16 in Buffalo Narrows, 21 degrees in Flin Flon, 13 in both Stony Rapids and in Wollaston Lake there. Uranium City also sitting at 15 degrees. 15 for Peace River and Slave Lake, as there are still mild temperatures up in the northern parts of Alberta, with 13 degrees in Fort Chipewyan and 16 in Fort McMurray. This is where the activity is going to mainly happen for today in southern parts of Saskatchewan, a little bit in Alberta as well, as Medicine Hat could also see a little bit of risk of thunderstorms as well for tonight. 12 degrees for them right now, though, with 14 in Calgary and 11 degrees in Lethbridge. As we go over to Saskatchewan now, looking at 14 degrees in Moose Jaw and Swift Current, 22 degrees in Regina, so still fairly warm, and a little bit warmer out in Estevan, all the way out east there, southeast areas at 28 degrees. Now going ahead to the temperatures across the country, look at that, there are lots of warm temperatures continuing to still be the story out east, though. 29 degrees in Winnipeg as well as in Quebec City. The Maritimes and the Atlantic saw some really warm temperatures, with Halifax sitting at 31 degrees and other parts of New Brunswick seeing over 30-degree temperatures, and 24 degrees right now in Toronto as well. Looking to Vancouver, 16 degrees right now with 10 up in Yellowknife, and then 20 degrees in Whitehorse, and Edmonton still sitting at that 16, like I mentioned, with that cloud coverage still hanging on. Now looking to tomorrow, we are expecting a little bit of showers as well to continue on into tomorrow as well as into Thursday. So 20 degrees is what we're expected around our area here. So 20 in Marwayne, Vermilion, Wainwright, as well as in Lloydminster and Maidstone, and Vegreville, 21 up in Bonnyville and Coal Lake. So still pretty mild, but nice and warm as well there as we go into Macklin, 20 degrees, and then 23 degrees in North Battleford. We will also see some showers as we start to see that low pressure system starting to make its way through Alberta and Saskatchewan. Now looking ahead to the next 7 days, those showers, like I mentioned, continuing into Thursday with that high of 16 degrees, 18 degrees on Fridays, 20 degrees on Saturdays. We are going to start to warm up by next week here, so we're back to those high 20-degree temperatures, so 24 on Sunday, and then 28 degrees on Monday, and then 31 degrees. We'll be back into the 30s on that Tuesday, as we are, of course, getting into mid-June, so we're going to start to see temperatures start to kind of skyrocket a little bit past those seasonal averages. That is a look at your 7-day forecast for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm joined once again with Becca Lawrence from the Lloydminster and District Community SPCA. Becca, how are we doing today?
We're doing really good. How are you?
We're doing great over here. Now, we have something a little special this week, a little different. We haven't gotten to showcase anything like this yet. So, Becca, why don't you let us know who we're talking to today?
Yeah, so this is actually my first time in my 8 years here having gerbils. So this little white guy here, that one's Pinky. And then in here we have Aurora and Penelope. So we have 3 cute little gerbils that are looking for their forever homes.
Beautiful. And gerbils, I'm assuming, like I haven't personally owned any gerbils, but I'm assuming they're probably similar in care to, say, like a hamster. Is that correct?
Yeah, a little bit, I would say. I'm going to be honest, I don't know too much about them either, but I heard that lettuce is not very good for them just because the water intake is too high. Again, not sure why, but but yeah, you can see that they're in these big containers here. So they are burrowers, so they like to dig, and this is literally what they do all day long. So like you can kind of see their little huts and everything in here. We got toilet rolls in there they like to chew on and burrow in, and yeah, it's funny watching these little guys.
Well, that's super neat. So if anybody out there is looking for something interesting, certainly, you know, maybe a gerbil is the ticket. They do look like they're fun to watch. I got to say, their little containers there looks definitely amusing. And, you know, perhaps, like Becca was saying, you know, maybe you do a little bit of research on some gerbils first and learn a little bit more before you come in would certainly be helpful. And so, Becca, you recently had some donations come in from some of the pet stores in town. So why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so PetSmart just did a food drive for us. So we got a ton of kitten food, canned food, dog food. So that was really, really fantastic. So we're going to actually post about that today on our Facebook. And then Pet Value actually is currently fundraising money for us and collecting donations as well too. So both of our pet stores that we're partnered with are really keeping us afloat with our food and everything like that. And we couldn't be happier with them.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. If anybody out there is obviously inspired by the works of, good deeds, perhaps you want to make a donation as well. And Becca, we won't talk too much on it because Shelby had spoken with you guys earlier this week, but you guys have some new merch out in case anybody, is interested in picking up some SPCA apparel. So why don't you just quickly give us a rundown on that?
Yeah, so actually one of my coworkers here, Sky, she got that all figured out. So, that we have it posted on our Facebook, and we're going to get it on our website as well, so it's easier to find. But yeah, it's got a bunch of cool sayings on some sweaters and t-shirts, and we're going to try and find different logos in the future as well too. And so if you want some SPCA merch, you can go to our Facebook page right now, and you can find all of our cool designs.
There you go. So certainly stop in, maybe pick up a piece. It's always nice to be able to, make a donation and to get something back. And this is a great way to do that. I seem to remember hearing it was something like, $15 from every t-shirt goes to the SPCA, or how does that breakdown work?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, we get a percentage from each sale of each individual clothing that goes. So, obviously it helps them, and it helps us to get our name out and their name out as well too. So it's just a fantastic fundraiser overall.
It's a win-win for everybody involved.
It's a win-win.
Perfect. All right, and real quick before we go, Becca, you had mentioned that you guys are in the process of planning a new fundraiser, and it sounded really interesting. So why don't we just, maybe tease the audience a little bit. You mentioned it had something to do with tattoos.
Yes, yeah, we are partnering up with Marked Up Tattoos. They just opened up a new shop here in town, and they're really excited to work with us as we are with them. And I think that, they're going to make up a little sketches of little tattoos, and we're going to do a whole day of it. So if you want to get a tattoo and help out your local SPCA, that's our plan.
It honestly sounds very unique, Becca. I don't think I've ever heard of another, animal shelter running a walk-in tattoo fundraiser. So that is very exciting. If you guys are interested in that at all, make sure you follow the SPCA, on Instagram, all their social media. Make sure to check back in so that you don't miss this event, because it does sound very interesting. Well, we're almost out of time, Becca, but I always like to ask before we leave, is there any physical items you guys are looking for this week?
Actually, we're really, really low on our non-clumping cat litter, so that's something that we're really in need of right now. Like I was saying, the pet stores are really coming through for us with all the wet food and dry food, so we're really good on that. But yeah, other than that, I think our clay litter is the biggest one that we need right now.
All right, so if anybody's at Walmart and you see non-clumping cat litter on sale, maybe pick up an extra box for the SPCA and drop it off on your way home. That's unfortunately all the time we have for this week, but I want to thank you once again, Becca, for stopping in. I want to thank the gerbils back there for, stopping work. They were busy digging, but they stopped in to say hi, so we appreciate that. And we will speak with you guys again next week.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
I'm speaking with Jenna Green, who is a teacher and author of the book Renew, which is book 2 of the Reborn Mark series. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, can you start off with telling me what the series is originally about before we dive into book 2?
So the original book, that's first in the series, is about a 16-year-old girl named Lexel, and she's kind of prejudiced against because she has kind of freckle-like marks on her skin. And in her society, it's said that those marks mean she's a reborn. She's someone who's lived previous lives. It's not something that is a good thing in her society. They're like, well, you've lived before. Us once-borns have only lived once. You're privileged, we're not. So she's actually sold by her brother into slavery. And she's forced to work for those who are not reborns. Now, in the first book, there's a lot of questions about whether that's just a myth to enslave people, whether it's actually true that she has connection to past lives, or maybe that it's a mixture of both. And so by the time we get to the second book, some of those questions have been answered, but not all of them.
Would you be able to tell us what that readers can expect in book 2 without kind of giving anything away, of course?
Lots of action and adventure, a bit more emotion in that the first book is all fight or flight. Like we got to get to safety, and that's really the only goal. And in the second book, she has to make more active choices. So she's not necessarily in danger, but what is she willing to risk to protect others? And so there's a lot on her conscience. There's a bit of a love triangle going on. There's a lot of new characters, but also a lot of maybe the ones you fell in love with in the first book that maybe make a new appearance.
And before releasing this series, what inspired you for the plot idea to write these?
A bit of a mixture, of course. I am very fricklish, and that was definitely where that part came from. I was at a writing conference in Calgary called When Words Collide, and when you're surrounded by authors and ideas and creativity, things just start to percolate in your brain. And then when I was starting to draft this series, my mom was sick with cancer, and by the time I finished the first draft, she had passed away. So that idea of being connected to people that are gone, I didn't maybe necessarily know it as I wrote it, but I definitely knew, later on subconsciously that was all a part of it, and definitely in the writing.
It was saying in the release that this book is like the Red Queen meets the Hunger Games. What exactly does this mean for your series?
It means action, 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 strife, drama, fast pace, but also that dystopian world where the world that the character lives in is not perfect. And so we have a character who has to make a choice on what she's going to do to fix this world, or if she's just going to let it be. And I mean, she's only 16, so it's not necessarily something she has to do, but it might be something internally she has to do in order to live with herself.
And has your series won any awards so far since being released?
The first book, Reborn, won the Moonbeam Children's Book Award, and it was also recognized by Literary Titan. The sequel comes out in 2 weeks, so we'll have to see.
Do you believe you'll receive the same amount of support as you did for the first book that was released for Renew?
I think the fans definitely. I mean, they've been chomping at the bit for 2 years to find, and every time I post a promo or anytime I advertise that it's coming, they're like, now, I want it right now. So I think definitely the fan support is there, and maybe will grow as the series develops and we get more characters and more to this world, more fleshed out.
As you were saying earlier, that this book will be released in 2 weeks. Where all can people go to be able to purchase this book?
So Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, it'll be on Kindle, it'll be in chapters. You'll definitely be able to order it because they're through Amazon. You can go to my website, jennagreen.ca, green with an E on the end. All the regular channels, absolutely.
Perfect. Is there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about concerning your new book?
Just that if they love the first one, the second one gets even better. All the drama, all the excitement, all the stakes kind of ramp up to a whole new level. And also just to thank the fans for really embracing Lexel and Finn and Sierra, the 3 core characters of this series, and are willing to give the continuation of the story another go.
Well, I'm personally very excited for you for when this book is released. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jenna.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great rest of your night.